Hey friends, it's Gail. This is an unscripted video, which I don't usually do, and I may or may not use this. I feel like I didn't yell at Abraham nearly enough in the last video. And this has kind of been bothering me because I am making these videos to help myself heal from religious trauma and decades of gaslighting by my Christian friends, and I love my Christian friends, okay, I really do. You have a beautiful religion, and when you use this faith as like the love of Jesus and stuff like that, it just warms my heart. Like, I'm really genuinely truly happy for you. And we're having a storm here, so if the electric goes out like I think it's hailing. I don't want to hurt anybody's faith in these videos, and I said that in my intro video. That is not my intention. My intention is to do an intensive Bible study for myself, and what that means is that I'm just reading the Bible and studying these stories and trying to get a grasp on what the tales are actually saying as the modern written word as it's been translated to us, and then exploring it into all of the various interpretations that these things have had for thousands of years, because they're thousands of year old stories. They're going to have different meanings, which I think is cool as heck. Okay, and I genuinely do love these stories. The thing that drives me the absolute most crazy about the Abraham and Sarah story is that these people are so freaking cool, right? Like, they're awesome. And then they also completely suck. And I'm like, what are you even doing? And I think the thing that I appreciate about these stories, which I did not appreciate about them when I was younger, is that they're people. You know, these are stories about people. And I'm not going to say they were real, because Abraham and Sarah are considered legendary characters, okay? But they could be anybody, you know? As much as they have flaws, they're still supposedly beloved by this God, even though he loves to torture them. That says more about him than it does about them. But then we have this thing that happens with Abraham, and I suppose with God, where Abraham stands up to God a couple times, right? You know, he intercedes for the cities of the plains, and he basically begs for Ishmael, you know, like, you know, I want my son to stay. What's going on here? And each time God sort of just demolishes his request. You know, he doesn't really honor it. And like, I'm actually kind of surprised that God just didn't nuke him right off, because that would be very much in keeping with the this Yahweh character, right? Or Elohim, as the case may be, depending on which one it is. So it's kind of like, on the one hand, you have Abraham, who didn't ask for any of this, right? He's just like doing what his God tells him to do, which is the whole point of the Bible, by the way. Just do what I tell you to do, regardless. Not from the Jewish perspective. Like he uproots his family from the Chaldeans, and I said that so badly. Like, I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't know how to say these words right, but I don't even know if my pastor's ever said the things right. But like, he uproots his family several times. He's traveling around. He's in these foreign countries. Like, he's just trying to get by. Like, this poor guy is just trying to get by, and he's really good at it. And he, you know, like, he gets blessed by this God who gives him all these livestock. And, you know, shitty things happen to these people, but they also do shitty things to the people who they're supposed to love and take care of. And I'm like, this is like, it's kind of screwed up, you know? And when we get to the point of the sacrifice of Isaac, or technically the binding of Isaac, so God comes to this guy who he's been coming to forever, delivering catastrophic news, life-changing news every single time. Like, it's not like Abraham asked for any of this. And he says, go kill your son. Like, what? What are you even doing? Like, how is this not insane, you know? And so Abraham has all night to think about this. And he loads his donkey. Instead of waking up in the morning and being like, wow, that was a screwed up dream. Woo, glad that was just a dream. He's going to go through with it? Like, what? And then he's got a 3-day journey, right? So they're traveling 60 miles from Beersheba to Mount Moriah, not Moriah. And so now he's got these two guys with him who are not his son, and he's got his son. And on this 3-day journey, he's not saying anything to these people. Like, what is stewing in this man's mind, you know? Is he like, yep, gonna do it, blah, blah, blah. Or is he like, I can't believe he's asking this of me. What is going on? Why am I feeling compelled to do this? I really need a mental health professional, except they don't exist because it's 1600 BCE or whatever. I guess it's supposed to be 1200. No, hang on. It's supposed to be 1800 BC. I don't know, whenever the hell it was. Then he's cutting the wood. And then he loads his son up. And then they're going up the mountain. And the kid's like, what's going on? This guy is having time to think about this. This is a premeditated murder, okay? This is exactly what's going on here, is a premeditated murder of a child, his child. I'm like, ah! And then he's going to do it. And in some stories, it's just the angel's like, hey, by the way, don't do that. And in other stories, like they were like wrestling over this knife, right? Depending on which story you want to choose. And in other stories, he actually does it. And I cannot fathom, like, how... what I can't grasp here is how the Christians in my life, when I was a child, thought that this was a good story. I mean, I've had Christians explain it to me, and they're like, oh, it's so beautiful. And I was commenting on H.G. Roberts' channel just now, which is why I'm making this video now, because I was like, I don't think I yelled at Abraham enough. And I didn't. I did not yell at Abraham enough. Like, I want to hit this character with a pool noodle. You know, I am not a violent person, okay? And I really, I'm sitting here stuttering at a loss for words as to how to emotionally process what this character did to his son because a voice in the sky told him to. I mean, we have modern day people who kill their children, which I covered in the video, because they think that God is telling them to. I mean, it's freaking nuts. And a lot of them are not capable of standing trial, or they're acquitted for reasons of insanity. And this is religious psychosis. It is a mental health condition that, they're crazy. And I don't see how Abraham was any different in that regard at all in these stories. You know, and a lot of times he's very level-headed. He's very caring about his family. I mean, he clearly loves them. And then all of a sudden he's holding a knife to his kid's throat. And he's banishing his other kid into the wilderness to die. Even though God says, oh, don't worry, he'll be fine. Like, what? What are you talking about? It's a desert. They're not going to be fine. You know, no reasonable person would expect Hagar and Ishmael to be fine. You would expect them to die. And I really struggled with this video. Like, it took me almost a month to make this video because I struggled with this story so much. And I think a lot of that was because when I was in Sunday school, and I left Christianity before I was 10 years old. I don't remember exactly when. Somebody gave me a Bible when I was 7. I read it when I was like 7 and 8, and I was like, this is bullshit, and I left. But I wasn't allowed to leave, so I had to kick my heels in church for years. There's a lot of people watching time. It's a lot of time to be told you're going to hell. I don't think I struggled with this story as much as I struggled with Job. But I mean, this one, it really got to me. And I think the reason why it got to me so badly this time around is because I do have a kid now, and he is my only son. And we had a heck of a time getting him. I mean, I had so many pregnancy losses before him. I had surgery. I almost died. And now I have this wonderful son who I cannot imagine hurting. You know, and we're going to have rough times. That's fine. You know, it happens. We've got our struggles. But, like, how could you hurt your child? Seriously, how could you hurt your baby? You can't, no, that's crazy. That is crazy pants. And people do it. And they do it because of religious psychosis and because they think that this stuff is true. And, you know, the thing is, religion is a beautiful thing. Spirituality is a wonderful thing when it's healthy. And it can so easily go toxic. And, man, Abraham's story is toxic stew. And it doesn't get better anytime soon. Actually, it does. We're going to get better with Isaac. Isaac is a wonderful story. Isaac made good. Like, the kid did all right, you know? Like, oh, man. Man, I had a hard time with this story. If you sat here through my ramble, I really appreciate it. And I guess I'll catch you next time when we talk about the death of Sarah. Which, it'll be a little sad, but then we're going to talk about all the mythology around Sarah, and we'll talk about the midrashes with Sarah, like running around trying to find Isaac, and it'll be fine. It'll be sad, but it'll be fine. And then we get to Isaac's story, and that's actually like a romantic comedy, so we'll really enjoy that. All right, thank you for joining me on the Secular Scriptures, and I'll see you next time.